Hi guys, Diane here, and today I'm going to be reviewing In the Miso Soup by I don't know how to say it. Hey everybody, Diane here, and I'm going to be reviewing In the Miso Soup by Ryū Murakami. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, but so let's get into it. Okay, so for a quick synopsis of In the Miso Soup, it's about an overweight white American guy who's coming to Tokyo and he wants to have a sex guide. So someone that'll take him to like the seedy nightlife, to the seedy clubs, and kind of show him around, where all, the hot spots are. So they have like a 3-night tour, and pretty soon the sex guide, Kenji, he starts to really notice like some oddball things like that he'll say and do. And there's also a serial killer around, like the sex scene, the clubs and everywhere. There's a serial killer that's going around killing sex workers in very odd and meticulous and like gross, disgusting ways. And the more he's getting to know Frank, which is the tourist, the more he's getting to know Frank, he's starting to put 2 and 2 together and think, maybe is he the one that's doing it? The timelines kind of coincide, and he's really weird. He's not just there to like, get his rocks off or whatever, but he's, kind of almost watching and waiting and like doing some very odd, strange things, and it's not all at once, and it's kind of like sporadically, so it's like you can kind of see like the good side, but you can also see like how he could be a complete psycho. So this book is really, it's really gross. There's some really disgusting, disgusting, odd ways to kill people in this book that I'm not really sure you would really think of, or like if you're just like someone who's like doing just say like a murder of passion or whatever, you're not gonna take the time to, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but you're not gonna take the time to really get into the creative side of someone who enjoys it. So that's kind of where what this book is about, like the seedy underlife, why people are drawn to it, how people look down on it, but yet it's so lucrative. It's very, very interesting, and the atmosphere is just amazing. The atmosphere, you feel like you're in it. It's just a really good read. Okay, so this book is less than 200 pages. It's like 175. And the amount of like story, the amount of just craziness that is packed into this book is like overwhelming for under 200 pages. The pacing was really fast. It wasn't, well, I guess I wouldn't say it was really fast, but it felt like it was moving. It didn't feel too slow. I felt like I needed to almost like be rushed. Like I was rushing to read it because I wanted to make sure like what's going on, like where is he going, what is he doing, is Kenji, is Kenji okay or whatever. So I feel like it was really, the pacing was great. I read it, I think in one sitting. I think I read it in one day, and it's just one of those books that you just don't want to put down because, you just want to keep the momentum going. And, it was so well written. If everything felt just very, atmospheric. You could see yourself there. You could see like all the lights and the bar. And there's a new show on HBO. It's called Tokyo Vice. And after reading this and then watching this show, I'm like, man, this has the same vibe. Tokyo Vice is a little different. It's not like sadistic serial killer, but it is a good show, and the vibes are very similar, and it just felt very like, man, the author was spot on. They portrayed the life in Tokyo so well, the underground life, like the life of the people there, just like the differences between, America and, the life over there, and just how they differ. And it was just really kind of cool to see that and to see it kind of play out in your mind, which is, really always really fun if a book can do that, if an author can do that for you. So that's always like a plus, and, just really amazing writing. So the characters, it's basically pretty much two people. It's basically Kenji, who is the sex guide, and his girlfriend, and then Frank. So Kenji is, likable. It's kind of like he's, maybe a college kid who is just kind of doing this, to make money. It's not going to be his life's pursuit. He's going to move on to bigger and better things. He has a girlfriend, he has some things going for him. He's not just a complete like weirdo or anything like that, which is, he's just kind of doing what he needs to do, and making money where he can. Whereas Frank is very like, at first I think Kenji is like, oh, he's got money, he is a little strange, he doesn't dress really nice, he doesn't there's a lot of things that don't add up with him. He smells bad, like he's not like dressed to kill, he's unattractive. There's not a whole lot of what do you say, well, there's not a whole lot of attractive qualities about him. So, Kenji's kind of like, okay, I can kind of see why he would need, a guide to the seedy underworld, because it's like he probably like lives in his mom's basement and eats like canned ravioli for dinner or something. Not that anything's wrong with that, but I like ravioli. The character development is really good. Like, you start off with Kenji, and you're just kind of feeling the vibe. You see what he's doing, and then as Kenji is being not defiled, because that's not the word for it, but as he's going through all these things, as he's absorbing everything like he's seeing and going through, that you're kind of going through that change with him, and you're feeling like, oh, I'm never going to be the same again. Like, that your eyes are open to a whole different side of life, a whole new like perspective. You're put in a tough spot. He's put in a tough spot. So, you kind of go along that ride with him. And then his poor girlfriend that's put into this situation when she's over here just trying to go to school. And then you have Frank, who by the end of it, you really are kind of like, you don't feel sorry. You kind of feel sorry for him. I kind of felt sorry for him, just because, I don't want to spoil anything, so it's kind of hard to kind of go into, but you just feel these characters, and it's such a well-written book that you only have like three characters. There's other people that come and go or whatever, people on the street, or people that Kenji talks to, like his friends that are like, hey, what's up, or there's some people that come and go. But just to have a book that's just solidly, there's pretty much only two characters, because his girlfriend is just it's a side character. It's not necessary. You don't really hear, she's there, but she's not, in it like Kenji is. So to build an entire book, I guess it's more of a short story. I guess it's on 200 pages. But to build an entire book around two people, and that's basically it, to have the story like flourish and to move on and to just be as crazy and messed up as this one was I feel like it just shows like how talented this author is to really, and I'll read another book by this author. I haven't yet, but I'm going to, definitely going to. So for twists in this book, I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of, twists per se. There's a few aspects that might surprise you, but it's not super, mind-bending, Fight Club type twist that you're just going to be like, whoa, what the hell? There are some very memorable points. There are some very memorable parts of this book. I don't want to spoil anything. But there's definitely some parts that I'm going to, think about, or if I see, other shows that are, you know, based in Tokyo or around like the sex trade or just the sex trade in general, just anything like that, it's gonna, like, this book will pop up. I'll think about it. There's definitely some moments that, you know, if anyone were to ask me if, oh, have you read that? Or, you know, what do you think of this book? There's probably 2 or 3 parts that would really pop into my mind and be like, oh, you know. But there's definitely, you're definitely going to remember this book. I can probably promise you that. So for this book, I really enjoyed it. I really loved like the Tokyo nightlife. I loved just everything about it. Just made it feel like you were there, like you were in Tokyo, you were in the seedy nightlife, you were going through all these things with Kenji and Frank, and it was just really, it just packed a punch. It was like a lot of story for very few pages. It really wasn't that long, like I said before. I would definitely recommend this to the right person. I wouldn't just willy-nilly recommend this, like, hey, stranger I don't know, or, you know, like, if I meet, you know, when I meet my kids' parent, or, you know, my kids, their friends or their parents, I'm probably not going to do that just because, you know, you don't want them to think you're a complete weirdo. So I would recommend it to people I feel comfortable with, probably. It's definitely going to have some trigger warnings. And the miso soup is pretty, I wouldn't say it's super popular, but it's within like the horror genre, like within like the dark and disturbing like lists and everything. It does, you know, pop up on there pretty often. So it is a pretty hyped book, and I had very high expectations for this book when I went into it. I thought every single page was going to be like just down and dirty and disgusting, which it wasn't. You know, there were definitely parts of down and dirty and disgusting, but it wasn't the whole book. There was also like story to it. There was you know, Frank and Kenji were not just, you know, paper thin characters. They were more, there was definitely more sides to them, and it just felt like it, you know, that they were real people and that you're going through all these things with them, and that you were there witnessing, you know, all this crazy stuff that's going on. So I would give this book and the miso soup an 8 out of 10. Like I said earlier, it was a book I really enjoyed. I wouldn't, you know, recommend it, you know, to your grandma unless she's a freak, but, you know, who knows. But this is just a book that I really enjoyed, that was really easy and fast to get through, you know, depending on, you know, what you're into. But yeah, if you like this video, if you agree or disagree, you can leave me a comment. But if you're into this channel, you know, and you like all the books that that are on here, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.